Pretty Little Liars, the TV show, sometimes deals with disturbing and problematic topics. We've provided a list of content warnings in the episode description.
I usually start. Hello and welcome. Is that just what I say?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't remember. That's bad.
Yeah, I think it's hello and welcome to Dead Ends.
Okay, perfect. Hello and welcome to Dead Ends. I'm Emily.
I'm Brenton.
And this week we've already forgotten how we do this.
Exactly.
It did take me a couple tries to get this started.
It's allergy season, so...
and I'm out of Zysol!
Yeah, and we're both plugged up. I can't hear out of my right ear, so thankfully I'm always on the right.
Well, and I yell.
Exactly, yeah.
I'm loud.
So we won't be able to do it. And we've had a weekend with our corgi post
Dental surgery.
So
he had the poops. It was not good. Not good. Have you ever gotten up every 2 hours throughout the night? It was like having a newborn.
Yeah.
I assume we don't have a newborn.
Yeah, poor dude. So we're doing good. We're ready.
We're so
We're locked in.
tired. But we're here to talk about Pretty Little Liars.
Mm-hmm. Episodes 8 and 9.
Episodes 8 and 9 of season 1. And I had like the crushing realization as we sat down to watch this the other day that I was like, there is still so much to come. And like, because I was like trying to put some puzzle pieces together backwards, which is hard because I know they did not have an end in mind when they, maybe for this first part, but like in theory, there was no end in mind as we kept going with the show.
Right.
And so I'm like, like there's so much to come.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
But first we're gonna recap.
Yes. And before we get to the recap, I did want to mention up top here, we still don't know who died.
No.
Could have been completely coincidental. Someone just passed and A's like, this is too good of an opportunity.
Or maybe A just did that to make us think someone died.
The audience?
Well,
or like the town?
The town.
The town has not picked up on it either.
Well, I don't know if anyone ever picks up on A's, like those little scenes we see with A. I don't really.
I mean, it's to show us like A found the file. A printed out photos.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not always A actually, because this episode already deviates from that. And I just know in my gut that it is not A.
Or is it A?
I just know it's not. It can't be. It can't. But we'll get to that. I'll actually get to the episode.
So it's called Please Do Talk About Me When I'm Gone.
Mm-hmm. Aria and Spencer push in a large box. Aria mentions that it's the memorial created by someone at her mom's gallery, and that her mom is now living at the gallery. Ali
in an apartment above it, like in the halls.
Thank you. Exactly. She roaming the halls.
Ella
Some say
sleeping in front of an exhibit.
Yeah. Some say they can see her wandering the halls to this day. Ali's brother is coming back into town. We figure out his name later is Jason. For the ceremony, the friends all like kind of remember him as like this kind of emo, angsty, washed up kid that they didn't really know, but that he ended up going to an Ivy League school. And all wonder how he got in.
Mm-hmm.
They then open the box and look at the memorial. They then have a flashback. The girls are all at the lake, and Aria mentions that she wishes they could just stay young forever and hit pause. And Ali says the only way to do that is to die young. She wonders aloud how awesome it would be to die young, and the friends, every single one of them, want to move off the topic. Ali then says, "It's immortality, my darlings."
That's immortality, my darlings.
Yeah. Hannah then complains to present day. Hannah is complaining to her mom that her card got taken away and declined at the store. They practically took it away from her. Declined. Ashley then says that they need to make financial adjustments for an unforeseen amount of time. Hannah asks what happened, and Ashley says that the bills and things are just absolutely piling up now that it's only one paycheck, and that it's hard to do it without Hannah's dad, and that there have been other cards in the past that have been declined. Ali's brother, Jason, comes in and meets with the friends about the memorial. He says they all did a great job, and then proceeds to hand out a revised program over the one that Spencer had sent him. He sees the picture of Ali for the program and agrees that it's a very good photo of her, and he would have picked it himself. He then mentions that the family all didn't come out no matter what. He tried to get his mom to, but she didn't come.
It's okay. She's recast since the funeral, and he's recast in season 2.
Right. Oh God, yeah. You showed me the difference, and I'm like,
They're like,
men don't look anything alike.
I forgot about this, and I was like, they just said that was Jason, but that's not Jason. Like, is there like
That's not my Jason.
Is there a trick here? And then I was like, oh no, he was recast. Because like I don't think he does a lot in season 1, and then he's in more of season 2.
Right. Yeah, you showed me the picture, and those two people look nothing alike.
They look nothing. One's blonde and one's brunette.
Uh-huh.
Well, or one's like, I don't know if the other one's like blonde or like a dirty blonde brown hair, but
right.
This one looks like a politician, and the other one looks like a surfer.
Yes, absolutely. I said Fabio to you.
You did.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, you're all good. I just lost my.
How dare I talk about the show
Exactly.
on this podcast we have about the show?
I know. This is the format. My brain's a little fuzzy, so I lost the
We're
place.
good.
Jason. Jason then says that seeing all of them, when he thinks of Ali, he thinks of all of them like all hanging out, keeping their secrets. Ominous. Jason says that people think the dedication is about closure, but that there actually won't be any until the killer is caught, and that he means to grease the wheels with the police so they can get the investigation going. Jason tells the group that Jenna has been added to the program as a speaker, and that she actually asked to be added. The friends are all in shock and wonder why Jason is speaking, or why Jenna is speaking, and why Jason wants her there. They wonder how they can stop Jenna from speaking, and they all agree that Spencer has to take care of it.
Poor Spencer.
I know. Everybody else is like not it, like really fast.
Well, you're
Spencer.
in charge, Spencer.
Spencer, you're the one who hates Toby, so like, why don't you like? Aria then arrives at school and sees a homecoming flyer. She then has a flashback to the homecoming episode where she talks to Fitz in the hall. Hannah,
he'd gotten a haircut for her.
Exactly.
You know
how he
love?
wasn't mad
When men get haircuts for me.
Mm-hmm.
No.
It wasn't for Mrs. whatever her name is. Hannah is excited to see Sean, and Sean tells her that he bought VIP tickets to go see the Band of Horses. Way to go, Sean. But it was actually Noel that bought the tickets. And Noel is gonna go, and he wants to ask Aria, but he thinks that Aria won't say yes. So Sean is like, hey, you should get Aria to say yes to Noel. And Hannah's like, okay. She then trots off to go see Lucas. She's like, okay, I'm gonna go see Lucas, and Sean's like, watch out for cooties, and Hannah's like, you're such a goober, and we all cheer.
Did we cheer or did we groan?
I cheered.
You're such a goober.
Yeah, he's acting like a goober.
Yeah, but it's just like she said it like endearing, like you're such a goober. No, bye, Sean.
No,
we don't need to pick on Lucas.
Fair enough.
We don't punch down.
Yeah, but I mean, like, he says, watch out for cooties.
Yeah. Because
that's not an effective way of punching down.
He's not an effective boy.
I know. That's why we call him a goober, and we take all the power out of it.
That's fair enough.
Maya and Emily sit in the courtyard and feed each other food and have a hearty laugh. Emily asks Maya out on a dinner and movie date, and Maya's like, I'll think about it, and walks off happily. Emily sits there smiling and then gets a call from her mom. We cut to a different scene of Lucas showing Hannah his one-page invasion of privacy for the yearbook, which is pictures of people's lockers. And he talks about, hey, anybody just opens up their locker for you to take a picture of them. Yeah. Patriot Act. Read it. Hannah admires Lucas's camera, and he said that he was able to buy it when he auctioned a bunch of stuff off. Lucas is like, hey, if you have anything you want to sell online, like, I'm happy to help you. And she's like, yeah, definitely. Emily gets off the phone with her mom, concerned, and Aria is walking by and sees her face. Aria walks over to ask her about it. And Emily says that her dad is coming home from Afghanistan. Spencer sits at home and pulls Allison's bracelet out of her drawer. She then has a flashback to the lake. I wrote river here, whatever, body of water. Jenna is staring down the friend crew from afar, and Ali calls her Jenna the jerk. They wonder where Toby is, and Allison says that he's probably shooting animals in the woods. Spencer asks if Allison's done shooting at low-hanging fruit. They all decide to be friends forever, and Spencer adds, even when we're old. Present day. Spencer receives a text from A that says, do it right. I'll be watching, just like Tom Sawyer. which we had to stop and dissect that in Tom Sawyer.
Yeah,
Tom Sawyer fakes his death and then watches his own funeral.
Yeah, didn't read that classic.
Yeah.
Majored in English.
Watch the Jonathan Taylor Thomas movie. That's a good one.
Always a JTT for you.
But a big impact in my youth.
I'm beginning to worry.
I'm just wondering where he went.
Fair enough.
Well, we saw him in a previous show, Life on Mars. Veronica Mars.
That's why I said always JTT with you.
I know. Get back on track here. Aria and Hannah discuss the concert, and Aria going with Noel. Aria's like, I don't know. And Hannah casually mentions that it's not like she's making her go with her weird cousin that makes tiny furniture.
Do you think she's like related to the Fae?
Maybe. It was a man, I believe. He's related. Yeah. Hannah asks what the problem is, and Aria says she just can't do it right now because of her family. And Hannah's like, I thought it would help you take your mind off it. And she's like, I can't get my mind off it. Aria then looks in the mirror of her locker and has a flashback. The flashback is the friends are all at the lake again, and they see Noel with some girl. Allison makes fun of her for getting a boob job. And Allison asks... Prudence, yes. Allison asks if... Aria would get a boob job to impress Noel, and Ali says, oh, you know what? Noel's too, young for me anyways. I like mature boys. Present day. Aria texts Hannah that she's in for the concert. Wilden is reviewing the locker pictures like a creep, and he calls Hannah in. Wilden asks if Emily has heard anything from Toby and asks her about Jason. Wilden says Jason came into his office and gave him a really hard time. Wilden threatens Hannah with telling Jason anything about... your friends, your activities, pretty much. And Hannah's like, well, why don't I tell people about what you've been doing at my house?
Yeah, what about your activities, sir?
Exactly. 3 cheers for Hannah.
Indeed.
I think that'll be good.
Ow.
Sorry about that. Spencer walks up to Jenna and asks her about the dedication. Jenna says that Jason seems different, and Spencer agrees. Spencer then decides, enough with the pleasantry, time to play hardball, asks Jenna outright what she's going to say and what she wants. Jenna says the friends can't give her anything and that they break things but don't pay for it. Spencer says they pay for it every day, and Jenna says, well, who's counting? Spencer says she won't allow Jenna to beat them up at the funeral, and Jenna says, Allison was actually done with you, and we talked about it in the hospital. And Ali was specifically afraid of Spencer, and ask if that's why one of the friends did what they did. Hannah details all her purses for Lucas to sell. Lucas asks why she needs the money, and Hannah says, my mom cut me off. Flashback. Allison makes fun of Lucas at the lake, and is actually a really cool model boat. Hannah tries to talk back, and Allison...
You know what I love? I love a good boat.
It's a really nice model boat.
When we lived in San Francisco, sometimes we would go to Golden Gate Park, and sometimes we'd walk by the one body of water where all the little old men would have their little fancy boats that they'd drive around like Stuart Little. And I looked at Brenton standing there, and I said, I want to do this.
Yeah.
And then I looked up how expensive those boats were.
Incredibly expensive.
And I was like, well, maybe the Fisher Price one will look really good with the rest of them. Exactly. Do you think if I get a bathtub boat, it'll fit in?
I can only imagine how much Lucas's boat cost. That was a nice boat.
That was a nice boat.
Yeah. Don't make fun of him.
No. Everybody gets to have hobbies.
Exactly.
What's yours? Being mean?
Yes. I'm getting the idea that yes, it was.
Do you see the feelings around Ali now? How I was like, how do you feel about Ali?
Yes.
How do you feel about Ali?
They compress it all into the flashbacks of this episode. They finally stop telling and start showing. We all groan as Ashley has Byron over. And Byron offers Ashley cash and says that Aria mentioned that he should give it to her. And Ashley's like, wait a minute, Aria and Hannah have been talking about money. And Byron's like, well, yeah, it's for the memorial. And she's like, yes, that's why I need cash. Ashley asks how Byron's doing on his own. And he's like, I don't know. And Ashley's like, I understand. Byron says he doesn't know if they're getting a divorce. Ashley says, don't worry, it gets better. And they commiserate over their marriages falling apart. Editorial note, I'm worried. Jason is with Spencer.
Really? Are you picking up something here?
Uh-huh. And then it just kind of keeps developing, and I continue to be worried. Jason is with Spencer and Emily talking about the memorial. Jason asks what's wrong with like their weird like tenseness, and Emily says, hey, you're not the only one that's grieving, and that like pretty much there are other ways that we can do things for the memorial, like don't just cut us out. They then see that Wilden arrives with the police to open Toby's locker. Jason walks up and dresses him down fantastically, and Wilden said, well, okay, actually that Toby called Ali the night she disappeared, or maybe it was someone using Toby's phone. Good job. Emily has a flashback getting ready to go out. Ali tells Emily some made-up story about like a places that teens go to kiss, like around this rock, and then Ali asks Emily who she wants to take to go to the kissing rock. Present day. The concert crew is having pizza as they pregame. Noel insists like a crazy person to keep the pizza out while they're at the concert because it'll be perfect room temperature pizza.
Is that our first piece of evidence that maybe Noel is a sociopath?
It's our only piece of evidence at this point.
I mean, it's the only thing we know about him so far.
Exactly. Well, room temperature pizza.
Aria,
well, so far.
He's cute. He's brainy. His dad owns half of Rhode Island.
Yes, and he likes
Aria.
Aria's parents' music.
And he likes Aria.
Yes.
So, I mean, he seems all right, but like I'm a little concerned
room
about this.
temperature pizza. What the hell is this? Hannah.
Your pizza is either cold or it is warm. We do not play in the middle.
We love cold pizza.
My food safety certification is shaking right now. What's on that pizza? I hope
Noel
it's a veggie pizza.
Exactly. Noel likes to accumulate bacteria. Hannah asks Aria to perk up, and you're sucking all the energy out of the room. Lucas then arrives to drop off money for selling purses and leaves quietly. Sean asks what he's doing there at Hannah's house, and Hannah's like, oh, it's just yearbook stuff. Emily and Maya are at the movies. Maya asks about Emily's dad and when he's coming back, and Emily says she'll be happy when he's home. Maya asks if she gets to meet him. Movie starts and Emily doesn't respond, but they hold hands. Spencer works on the memorial with Jason. Spencer asks if Jason knew about the Toby call, on the Toby calling on the night that Ali disappeared. Jason,
You've got Pretty Little Liars down though now. It's just the thing, the Jenna thing, the Toby call,
exactly.
the counter pizza,
exactly. Smoking gun. Chekhov's pizza. If they introduce it. Yeah. Jason said, Wilden is easy to shake up like most bullies. Jason said Spencer was the only one who challenged Ali. Spencer asks who he thinks really killed Ali, and Jason says it doesn't really matter, and they're probably never really going to have closure, and tells her about like her mom who has to take sleeping pills every night and is, depressed. Him and Spencer will both be also marked as just the friend of the girl who got killed and the brother of the girl who got killed. Spencer asked, well, what about justice? And Jason said, oh, we should actually really talk about that. He's like, I know about the fire and that you coordinated all the friends to threaten Toby and cover it up. And Spencer's like, that Jason had to, sorry, back it up. Jason said he knows about this, that Spencer did that, and Ali had told him.
That Ali told him that Spencer had been the one that threw the stink bomb and organized the plan and threatened Toby.
Mm-hmm. And then Spencer's like, do you actually believe her? And then he kind of just like looks at her, and Spencer's like, oh, you're just like Ali. And he's like, yes. And in some ways, I'm even worse. Adjust the spectacles.
Do you wear spectacles? Yeah. You need to borrow my glasses? You can't see now, but you can make a point.
Maya and Emily are making out in the movie. Aria is sad with pizza but alone, and then Noel comes in and asks if she's okay.
Who can be sadder on pizza? I mean, was it counter pizza though? Is this
yes, it was. It was the room temperature pizza. Noel asks why she's mad at him. What did he do? And Aria's like, well, I'm not mad at you. It's me, not you. She's like, I shouldn't have gone, and
I'm distracted.
Exactly. And Noel's like, hey, I heard about your parent troubles and your boyfriend in Iceland from Hannah. And asks about the boyfriend. Aria says, well, it's a special relationship, but there's distance at the moment. And Aria's like, I know what I want to happen, but like I have to be realistic and it would be messy and bad. And Noel's like, hey, I was going to kiss you right there when I made you smile, but I decided I'm going to wait and keep my options open. Is that okay with you? And Aria luckily doesn't have to respond to this as she receives an SOS text from Spencer.
Thank God.
Yep.
I was going to kiss you, but then, then
wow. Yeah. Thank you for telling me about your boyfriend in Iceland. I was going to kiss you in the middle of that.
But I probably will still try later.
Exactly. Just keeping it in my pocket.
Cool.
Just watch out. Exactly. The friends have all gathered at Spencer's. And Spencer details Jason knowing about the fire and blaming it all on Spencer. Spencer says that Ali probably did this to cover her own tracks. Ashley opens the fridge to see it full, and Hannah rounds the corner and mentions that she went out and bought groceries with money that she got from selling purses.
She's laundering money.
Exactly. Let me tell you about buying gift cards. Ashley says, hey, don't do that. And Hannah's like, no, it's all right. At the memorial, Spencer is going to start with her speech when she sees Ian, Melissa's old boyfriend, walk in. We cut between...
you keep going. I'm going to grab my phone because I have stuff on Ian on my phone.
Okay. We cut between all the friends as they give all their speeches about Ali. Then when they're all finished, Jason walks Jenna up to the podium, and Jenna starts to speak about the nature of tragedy and how it shapes us, and we find out who we are, and that she learned who she was from Allison visiting her at the hospital, and how she was actually the strongest person she knew. Touching speech. After the memorial, the friends gather with Jason, and he thanks all of them for all their work, and he gives them Allison's bracelet. Interesting. And it was from the police that they had found on her body. A second bracelet. The friends...
Which is also like, so this was on her dead body?
Yes.
That was like in the ground for a year?
Well, we don't... Yeah. That is fair. I didn't pick up on that. The friends then all wonder about the other bracelet they found in the woods and how someone must have made a copy of it. We then cut to the memorial plaque, or at the memorial area. God, I guess just the memorial. With candles as someone comes and hammers on one of the squares and pours water on the candles and destroys the flowers.
Well, because it's like the little thing is a fountain thing. So I think they crack it.
Oh, they dump the fountain. Got it. Okay.
They crack it. So I assumed.
That makes sense. I forgot about the thing they pull out of the box is like a fountain thing that then has the figurines on it.
Yeah.
So you're right.
Can't get my chair back in now. Okay. I went to go grab my phone because I think we'll start with the thing that I almost forgot.
Yes.
Why
Ian.
the fuck is Ian at the memorial?
Yeah, I have no idea. That is, that's very interesting. Because this was Melissa's boyfriend. Mm-hmm. So we presume around Melissa's age. Still lives in town, maybe.
Question mark. We don't know.
Exactly, we don't know. But I'm just saying this is some conjecture. And we don't get an answer. This is not followed up with next episode.
Ali and Spencer were neighbors.
Okay.
I believe. I'm almost positive.
Okay.
So I'm trying to think like this. We don't have any connection so far that we would know of between Jason and anyone else besides Ali.
No. And we don't know anything about, well, I guess Ian could be friends with Jason. But they all seem shocked by it, but they also didn't really know Jason.
Yeah, and they also, how well did they know Ian?
Right, exactly. But
let's talk about
the
Ian.
The important thing was I was like, this guy looks familiar, forgot about it. Then you were like, oh, we should bring up when we talk about we should talk about what Ian was doing there. And I'm like, yeah, can you look up the actor for me?
Would you like to tell our friends at home what two Disney Channel original movies, DComs, if you will.
DComs?
The actor who plays Ian.
He was the star of Luck of the Irish and also, I guess also the protagonist of Smart House.
Correct. Gold stars.
Incredible stuff.
Ryan Merriman? Merriman? Merriman?
Sure.
Yeah, so
incredible.
He's got a long list of things he's done.
Yeah, like a lot of stuff. A lot of things I hadn't really heard of. The sequel to The Ring, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Which, fair enough.
Most importantly, he was Ian Thomas in Pretty Little Liars.
I'm I'm assuming we'll hear more from him because we do not know anything. It was just a weird little curveball. I'd forgotten about it because like things happen. And then it's just like, oh yeah, like wait, they all like, it's it's a good little thing they throw in there. It's just like, oh, seed something for the future.
Like what's Ian doing here? Yeah, so think about that.
Yeah. I'm gonna take like Columbo. I'm taking a note of it, but it's not ready to bring up yet.
No. Just one more thing.
Exactly. Oh, I can't get it.
So we don't know why Ian's at the memorial. What do we think of that's immortality, my darlings? Like that's very main character energy.
It is very I'm trying to think. I know like when we were younger there's like specific like teens or it's like
live fast, die young.
Exactly. Like that when people idolized where they had like posters of like James Dean or something.
I loved James Dean.
Right. Not as in like but as in Thompson and stuff like that, like those kind of people where it's just like these people that like lived a like hard and fast life or sort of thing, like Jim Morrison, like the idolizing of people like in the 27 Club. 27, right? 27 Club is the list of celebrities that died when they got to age 27. Yeah, that because then you remember these people because they lived these like fantastical lives.
Well, and you never got an ending to their story, so it is you can always imagine it to have been bigger.
And I mentioned Hunter S. Thompson in there only because of his notoriety, not that he died young. It's like he had the notoriety that he like did a shit ton of drugs like every single day and had some like insane regimen.
There we go. Well, that's Ali hanging out by the lake.
Exactly.
Live fast, die young.
Yeah, this type of it makes a lot of sense for this person to be like, oh yes, I'm gonna be like huge and big and like
that's immortality, and I'm gonna be remembered.
Exactly. So please do remember her when she's gone.
Jason, I already touched on this, is recast in season 2. Don't remember his face. It will be different later. And I think the character itself is different.
Got it.
Like, I think it's less polished.
Interesting.
I don't think you could have that other guy play this like politician-y character. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or this like Ivy Leaguer. Yeah, it's just funny they all like kind of mentioned that. There's just like, oh yeah, he's
different.
Who knows if that'll come back in season 1, but it's a thing that everybody has to know that it's like, yeah, like we don't understand how he got into an Ivy League school because he was kind of like this burnout emo kid and then is now like this like polished Ivy Leaguer, which, I bet I would have liked the other Jason.
Yeah, you know what? He
I
might
don't
have been
like
fun.
this one.
Yeah.
Kind of a dick.
So Jenna's comments when she's talking to Spencer and she goes, when I was talking to Jason, it almost felt like Ali was in the room. Jenna can usually tell who's in the room with her. What does that mean?
Oh, I just thought it was like I could feel it was like a sense memory back of like, hanging around with Ali.
So Jason gave me the same feelings Ali gave me?
No, it was like, seeing Jason reminds me of Ali.
So being around Jason made me remember what it felt like to be around Ali?
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. That's my read on it.
No, I have no idea. What was Jenna and Ali's relationship? Like that ties into that. I don't know.
No, I mean, there's obviously something we don't know. Called her Jenna the jerk. They obviously did they also live next door to each other?
I'm pretty sure they all live in like 3 streets.
Yeah.
Like that's
because they were able to get over to wherever. And Allison also talks about like looking in their windows and Toby supposedly looking in hers, even though he probably didn't do that. So they seemed at least like really close. But yeah. So if they were neighbors, then I could see Alice and Jenna having this like weird kind of like private relationship of being friends rather than like at school. And so maybe that's why Jenna is like glaring at her at the lake, or it's just like, I don't like when you're all together because Allison acts different.
Interesting. Do you think Jason was telling the truth that Ali had told him that story, that it was Spencer, or do you think he was messing with Spencer?
No, absolutely. I know they all mentioned that Jason's trying to potentially like
cause a rift between them, which I think he is, but like
I think by telling them this piece of truth,
yeah,
he's rattling them. I don't think it's a lie. I think from all the flashbacks this episode, this seems like something she would have done.
And do you think he believed Ali?
No.
Yeah.
because
he wouldn't have said it to Spencer if he believed it.
Exactly. And I'm sure as a brother to that type of person, this has happened to you as even like just small things in a house, like, oh, who knocked that over? Well, that was Jason. You know, like little thing, like there's probably a pattern within their sibling relationship too.
Definitely. Why did he not talk at the memorial?
I was also wondering, well, I mean, sometimes you just don't want to talk. And
Fair.
You just it seems like it's pretty hard for him, even if he doesn't like fully talk about it, at least how hard it is on the family. And he's at least driven to like whip Wilden into shape and get this going. So I could see why he may not want to talk, and the friends already have they all want to speak, and he's like, well, okay, like, I'll let them speak.
Well, he told them all they were speaking.
Oh, really?
Didn't he tell them all? Was that how that beginning went?
Oh.
That's how I took it.
Oh, got it.
But
okay. I thought they were all already on board.
Do it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Huh.
Probably. I don't know. It could have been both. So Jason mentions that Spencer was the only one who stood up to Ali, but we have seen both Aria and Hannah in this episode stand up to Ali.
But Hannah doesn't get away with it.
Hannah doesn't get away with it. Aria does. So I find that that Jason mentions that to Spencer. I'm like, oh, so he doesn't know everything he thinks he knows about their dynamics.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's a good point. Yeah, because Aria has been the one to step to her in the past.
But Ali didn't argue back with Aria. She'll argue back with Spencer.
Yeah.
And kind of mitigate.
So and he talks about like that he was like, oh, you know, like wondering aloud how they were probably when they were younger, like how they were still friends, even though they fought all the time.
Or he was waiting for the big fight, like the...
Right. Yeah, they would finally end things.
Yeah. I thought that was interesting. Just because I'd been like thinking about that this whole time of like who stands up to Ali, and then I was like,
right.
It's interesting that Jason has that too.
Right. Hannah's the only one that can't.
Emily.
Oh yeah, and Emily.
Emily doesn't stand up to Ali.
Right. Emily is just like smiling in the background.
Thing. The Byron-Ashley moment.
Oh.
I hate it.
Yep. I hate it too. It's bad. It's bad.
I love Ashley. She deserves better.
Agreed.
Ashley deserves better.
And then she's the that she'll commiserate with Byron, but has not done the same thing with Ella on any sort of page.
She hasn't seen Ella.
No, but it's also like there's two like sides to every story. That's later. Yeah. But where it's just like, oh, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Yes, I would love to go. Okay, I'll save that for later. But
yeah. No,
it's
we'll like, unpack that in the next part.
Yeah, it's a bummer. It's a real bummer for Ashley's character.
How do we feel about Lucas? In this episode alone. Don't think about the next one.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's tough.
You gotta separate your feelings.
Right. Yeah, that he's like, I think he's fine. He's like trying to be like, oh, I want to hang out with you, Hannah. It's like, and is doing things, but also knows like, oh, right, we have like social hierarchy. So like, good day to you, sir, and we will have our own private like friendship.
Yeah, like a secret friend.
But like,
Hannah's not trying to keep it a secret,
but like he also knows that he's not welcome in that space. So he's just kind of like, okay, we'll be friends on our own.
What do you think of Noel Khan?
Oh, he's just kind of
there.
Exactly. In this one, he's just a smiling boy. He's just kind of like a pretty boy stand-in, and like that's fine.
He's a plot point so far. He was the one who had the house that they had the party at.
Oh, right.
I think in the books he plays like a bigger part.
Got it.
Like fairly early on. Like I think he's a really early love interest for Aria. I haven't read the books, I don't know. Because I don't think Ezra lasts as long in the books as he does in the show.
Oh, got it.
I think they actually might do. But I don't know though. We'd have to read them.
Interesting. Yeah.
But I do think I think he plays a bigger role. So I think that's kind of why like we get some of these like side characters that keep like popping in and out because they're like, we want to include them maybe.
And I think it's like fair enough for like the for him to be like the like, oh, a new romantic interest for Aria that's like age appropriate. That is like, oh, okay, maybe I could actually like be happy with someone like my own age and like not have to deal with this like other like toxic relationship that I'm more intensely involved in. And so he's just kind of like, oh yeah, he's just kind of like a nice, pretty guy, and that's just kind of, I don't know. He's kind of flat. So my opinion doesn't really change with the next episode.
Fair enough. Those are my questions for you. That's
Okay.
all I had. What do you have?
Wilden getting step 2. We love to see it.
We do love to see
exactly. It's, like, outside of just Hannah, stepping to him. So we like to see this next episode too. Also great for that. So
that's what I have. I have more on Wilden in the next one.
Love to see Jason dressing him down. And did I have anything else? Yeah, I think that's it for this episode. Yeah.
Where does this episode sit in terms of like episode likability? I mean, it's not Homecoming.
Yeah, exactly. It's toward the middle top. I'm sure as more better episodes file in, it'll go.
You're so optimistic.
Oh, I see. More, I should say, maybe not better, exciting.
I was teasing.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure. Yeah, knock on wood. That's probably a good point. But I
think things pick up soon.
I think it's fine. I was expecting more of an impact around the memorial stuff, and that like dedication ceremony. But like, I was like, it just. All right, kind of happens.
It was like we had like a build to nothing, which I think is like something you're gonna have to get really comfortable with in this show.
Yeah, it's like really funny. And then Jason is just like, all right, I'm off.
We're gonna build, and then we're gonna what if it happened over there?
Mm-hmm. Oh, also very funny that they all just elect like, oh, Spencer's gonna be the scary one. She's got to do things for us. And Spencer's like, all right, Jenna, I'm done being good cop. What the hell are you planning?
Yeah, what are you up to?
It's so funny.
It is.
Just everybody being like, well, Jenna's got to be planning something. She's like, she's gonna rat us all out up on the main stage.
Yeah. And did Ali tell Jenna that it was Spencer?
Right. Yeah. So then it's like, oh, does Jenna think that Spencer, coordinated all this too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So,
well,
you ready for the next one?
Yeah. Are you ready for the next one?
Yeah. You ready to dive right in?
Yeah.
Cool.
The perfect storm.
Yes. Spencer, Aria, and Hannah are all studying at someone's house. Can't remember
Spencer's.
Spencer's.
Because her mom comes.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Hannah asks Aria about Noel. And it's like, oh, like, why won't you like go out with him? Hannah and Aria, I forget, this is out of context. Spencer's like, wait, we're trying to be studying. And Hannah's like, you don't need to learn any more words. You're scary. And like, Spencer's like, I'm not scary. And Aria's like, yeah, you are.
A little.
Exactly. She tries to soften it up, but it's like, Hannah then turns back to Aria and asks, like, why don't you give Noel a chance? And Hannah asks, why doesn't Aria want I put real man, not like that, like a real man, but it's like as in someone real, instead of this fake boyfriend from Iceland. Aria asks Spencer about Alex.
Well, I don't think she thinks he's fake.
Yeah, but like someone in person.
Yeah, distance.
Someone in their vicinity.
I was like, I don't think Hannah thinks Aria's making it up.
His boy from Iceland.
This is my boyfriend from Iceland.
Right, met him at summer camp. Aria asks Spencer about Alex and how that's going. And Spencer's like at first kind of cagey, but then it's like, oh, it's really good, and she doesn't want to blow it. Spencer's mom then walks in and denies the pleasure of carbs. Spencer reveals quietly to her friends that her mom doesn't know about Alex, and this is part of like doesn't want to like make the good times go away. Spencer's mom then asks where Emily is, and we get a cut to Emily arriving home during a storm covered in dirt. Emily locks her room door and gets a text from A that says, "There's only so much you can bury, Emily. You're not done with me yet." Spencer, Aria, and Hannah all arrive at school for the SATs with Spencer's mom, who then chases down a faculty member to ask about the test. The friends then all see Alex, who's also taking the test at their school, I should say, and he comes over and kisses Spencer. Spencer's mom returns and they separate, and Spencer introduces Alex to her mom, and then her mom is really awkward since she recognizes him from the club. The faculty member then walks over and says the test will happen. And Hannah says even if most students won't make it because of the storm. Spencer's mom then mentions that a street was closed. Wilden appears out of nowhere.
He was there to take the SAT.
Exactly. And says that someone destroyed the memorial last night, and that's why the street's closed. Wilden then corners Emily alone at her locker.
Also, isn't the bench like in a park? So like, why is the street closed?
It's basically, I guess that maybe it's like adjacent to a road or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Wilden then corners Emily alone at her locker and asks about Toby. Tells her about the vandalization that happened in the memorial last night and that Toby was spotted at a gas station near the interstate a few days ago. Wilden then notices Emily's dirty white shoes.
There is a storm happening outside. I wrote this down and we can talk about it later, but like we're using muddy shoes as like a clue in this one. And I'm like,
and they're like,
there's a thunder and lightning storm
and
outside.
it like sounds like houses are being uprooted.
Yeah.
It's like this massive storm that they can't leave.
Yeah, like I would step in a puddle probably.
The three friends then the three friends, not Emily, all wonder about A. Hannah is then like wondering that she's like, I thought all of us agreed that A wasn't Toby, and the other two disagree. It's not Toby. Listen to the smart one. Emily then arrives at the table to study with them and says, I didn't come over to study because I went directly home after practice the night before. Ella arrives at the school and Aria's like, what's my mom doing here? And walks over. And Ella says that she is going to be a proctor for the exam and had applied to be a teacher. And says she would have told Aria about it if Aria hadn't canceled on her 3 days in a row for dinner. Aria says that if she actually came over and had dinner, that she'd be co-signing Ella and Byron living apart.
Who's Brian?
Exactly. Ashley sits at home stressing over finances and gets a call from Byron. Not Brian. He needs to send a fax and the power is out at his house. And Ashley's like, well, you can come on over.
They live across the street for reference.
I'm just wearing like my night robe and having a nightcap.
Isn't she like sitting in her?
She's stressing over finances.
Yeah, she's like sitting at a table, like wearing normal clothes.
Yeah, I'm trying to make it sound worse than this.
Okay, thank you.
Faculty member says the test will be at 10 instead, and calls Lucas out for using his phone. Lucas and Hannah flirt until Mona comes. Well, they talk. But it's kind of flirtatious.
Not all fun friendships are flirty.
Mm-hmm. Until Mona comes in. Mona comes in and makes fun of Lucas. Lucas and Hannah look at her and laugh until Mona's like, get out of here. Emily receives a text from A. Hey, Em, you weren't the only one with great expectations. Check it out. Wilden asks the faculty member to get into the boys' locker room. The friends all freak out over his investigation. Wilden then comes over to the four of them and says he's sorry for the memorial that it got vandalized last night. Did you hear about it? Spencer says they were all studying last night, so they didn't see anything, so go bark up another tree. Wilden asks, oh, were you all studying together? And Emily's like, yes, we were all studying together. And the friends are like, yes, we were all there.
Aria is the one that backs that up.
Yes. Spencer and Aria then ask Emily what's up. And Emily's like, stop asking me questions. You're being bad friends, and leaves.
I thought we were all sticking together.
Exactly. How dare you?
Well, where the fuck were you, Emily?
Mm-hmm.
Where were you?
Emily wanders into the library and finds Great Expectations. And opens it up, and in it is a letter addressed to Ali from Emily. Spencer receives a text from A that says, define desertion. Seems like you're about to lose Emily. Who's next? Spencer then shows the text to Hannah and Aria as they just look around for Emily.
They don't get up.
They don't get up. I was like, you wouldn't want to go find her? You wouldn't think like maybe she's in trouble? I mean, she's not, but like I would have thought that. We then cut to everyone all waiting for the test, and Spencer sees Alex. Spencer walks over to Alex and asks what happened with her mom at the club. Like, you can tell me. And he's like, I can't talk about it, and leaves. Mona turns around and sees Lucas texting and laughing, and Mona asks Hannah what the hell is going on, and Hannah's like, well, Mona, that's my bag that you bought online, and Lucas sold that for me. Mona says, I knew that. I bought it as a goof. So silly. Mona asks what's up with Hannah, and like, are you poor? Boo, poor people. Aria walks over to the faculty member and sees a picture of Fitz on the wall in a little frame of him like running a club. Aria asks if she can leave, and the faculty member says, no, there's a tornado warning. Aria turns around, and Noel pops up suddenly and invites her to a Sixers game with 4 seats. Aria says she already has planned, and Noel asks if she likes hockey instead. And he's like, I'm sorry, I'm stupid. I know you don't like hockey.
Girls don't like hockey.
I'm going to work on it. And then he leaves the room, and he's going to leave the room. And he's like, well, do you want to come with me? And Aria's like, sure. Byron and Ashley are hanging out when the power cuts out. Byron freaks out about the facts, and he's like, this was due yesterday, and it's Mike's permission slip, and I can't keep up.
He's already on a lacrosse trip, and he doesn't have the permission slip?
It was due yesterday. Where is Mike? Where is your son, Byron? He can't keep up with this. And Ashley's like, it's okay. Cut yourself some slack. We'll find Mike. That doesn't happen.
Mike's not missing.
I know. Noel and Aria are in a room, and Noel plays her guitar, and Aria's like, my parents play that song. And Noel plays the song some more, and Aria sings. Know
what I appreciate about this scene? Like, sure, they give her like a singing scene, but they do other shit during that scene. They don't just make you watch her sing for 4 minutes.
No, so we cut to Emily. Their song is still playing with them sing. Emily is reading Great Expectations, and hears a girl laughing behind her, and turns around and sees Ali for a moment, but then she disappears. She then has a flashback. Emily and Ali are in the library, and Ali is reading Great Expectations. And Emily's like, I had a dream about you and Jenna. Wait.
I had a dream about
Jenna. Sorry, apologies about that, and how she was like much better and stuff. And Ali's like, stop thinking about it. Emily said, no, it's okay. Jenna forgave us in the dream. And Ali's like, well, that's why I like you. You're big on happy endings. Allison then reads a passage from Great Expectation, and Emily leans over and kisses Ali. The present day, Emily looks at her letter sadly. Noel and Aria continue making music when the song suddenly ends, and they almost kiss until Fitz walks in, lightning strikes, and he looks shocked. Fitz asks them to return to the library. They're supposed to be with their other classmates, and Noel is going to go with Aria, and Aria's like, just, walk ahead. Aria asks Fitz if he's back and what happened to him. Fitz is like, I went to New York to deal with family issues, my issues, and clear my head. I interviewed at another school, and Aria's like, oh, that's what you want, to move to another school? And he's like, well, I thought about you every day and when I was gone, and thought about all the consequences, and things can't go back to the way they were, and that things need to change. And Aria's like, well, they are, and leaves.
That's right, Aria.
Exactly.
Leave the creep.
She's making good choices this episode.
We love it.
Byron and Ashley are hanging out. Byron asks Ashley if she knows about why Ella left, and Ashley silently nods. Byron's like, well, I'm glad someone will still let me use their facts on this street. And Ashley's like, I don't pick side, and I know there's multiple sides to every story. I mean, you must have had a good reason for infidelity. Byron and Ashley continue to commiserate about being alone. Byron then asks Ashley to go to a dinner event with him. Red flags.
Red flags.
Faculty member then invites all the students into the locker room. Ushers them all into the locker room. Step right in. Don't you want to come in here? I don't know why they have to get into the locker room outside of the library. I guess get away from windows.
Yeah, because the locker rooms don't have the windows because it's a tornado.
Right. And that makes more sense. And so they all have to go into the locker room. Hannah talks with Lucas until Mona comes in, and Mona.
Was it a tornado or a hurricane?
Probably hurricane.
I would think so from the weather, but
yeah. Mona comes in and makes fun of Lucas. Hannah's like, okay, why won't you just leave him alone?
Leave Lucas alone.
Exactly. It's like, what the hell is your problem? Spencer asks Alex about her mom again, and Alex says, your mom has to tell you. It makes it sound so much worse than it actually is.
Well, but she told him not to tell.
Yes, it makes sense, but it makes it sound so much worse. Like your mother has to tell you.
Welcome to Pretty Little Liars, baby.
Emily continues to be alone in the library, unsupervised. Flashback. They had the roll call sheet. At some point, they must have been like, okay, we're missing someone. Who's missing? Emily has a flashback. She's in the girls' locker room with Ali. And Ali talks about France and how much she loves it. And then as she's changing and Emily's helping her, Emily touches her shoulder and kisses it. And Allison's like, what are you doing? Just because I kissed you in the library doesn't mean I'm into you. And we only kiss for practice for the real thing.
Well, but so when she talks about France, she's talking about like her French lingerie, like her bra.
Oh.
And she's talking about then she makes Emily hook her bra for her.
Uh-huh.
She leads her on.
Yeah.
It's not nice.
In the present day,
I've never needed my friends to hook my bra for me. I mean, that's not true, actually, but not in that way.
No. The power shut.
Not while sober.
Hold that for me, please.
Came unhooked. You're somewhere in public. You need someone else to hook because you're holding the front. That's a different game.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. In the present day, the power shuts off and Emily hears a noise and things start falling, like books start falling off the bookshelves around her as she's looking around. It's like, ah! Emily rounds a corner and sees her bag and letter are gone. Fitz is in a storeroom looking for things when Ella walks in and asks for supplies. They begin to talk and Ella tells Fitz, Ella tells Fitz that Aria talks highly. She understands why, like, Aria talks highly about him. And he's like, well, she's very engaged. Ella asks if he's noticed any, like, differences with Aria over the past week and tells him about the marriage situation and if it's affecting Aria at school. Fitz says he hasn't noticed anything alarming, and she's a great student. Ella says Aria's good at shutting people out, good at shutting people out. And Ella's very happy that Aria has someone like Fitz in her life. If only you knew. Noel then goes to talk to Aria and says that they should play music together again. Hannah walks over to Emily and asks, as Emily comes into the locker room and asks where she's been. Hannah says, hey, if you were like hooking up with Maya last night, you can just tell Aria and Spencer. They're like totally fine with it. And Emily's like, why would you think that? It's just like, I don't know. I mean, they're fine. They're like our friends. You can tell them. Wilden then rounds the corner and asks to speak to Emily alone. And he found something that belongs to her. Wilden then leads Emily over to a bag on a table and asks if it's hers. All the remaining friends come in to ask, like, what the hell is he doing? Wilden then shows Emily photos of her at the broken memorial. And Wilden pulls out figurines from the memorial that were in her bag. Aria's like, Emily, why do you have them? And Hannah is instead like, you planted the evidence, pig. Like, Emily would never do that. Wilden then pulls out the letter to Allison, dated 3 days before Allison disappeared. That was from Emily. Spencer asked what was in the letter, and Emily's like, I went back to the memorial to say sorry to Ali because I wrote a lot of really horrible things in that letter, and I wanted to apologize. Emily's like, hey, I liked her more than a friend, and I never had a chance to tell her. Hannah then threatens to rip Wilden's head off if he doesn't give the letter back to Emily. Wilden says they aren't leaving until he has answers. Emily says that she took the figurines because they were only things not destroyed. Enter Spencer's mom to the rescue, who asks why the girls aren't in the locker room and dresses Wilden down for interviewing minors without adults present and that this is all inadmissible, you asshole.
Because she's a lawyer.
Exactly. And she's like, you're off this investigation. Give me your badge and your gun.
Basically.
But he's like, you're off the investigation or else like you'll see me in court.
Mm-hmm.
Spencer's, they all are in the locker room. Next, they're all in the locker room. Spencer's mom then says Wilden would be smart to leave the force before the trial. Aria walks over to Emily and says that Ali loved her too, even if it wasn't romantic. The faculty member then walks in and says the storm warning's lifted, but the SAT will have to be rescheduled. Spencer and her mom pack up to leave, and Spencer thanks her for stepping in, and then it's like, well, I have to ask you what happened with Alex. Spencer's mom then leads her into a classroom to discuss alone and says, hey, do you remember when you went on a vacation with your sister and your dad? I actually lied about having to work. I ended up spending the weekend drinking. I was at the club and I kept ordering sidecar after sidecar after sidecar. And then I was drunk and it was Alex's first weekend there. He kindly listened to me and then helped me out and then helped me into a cab to get home. Spencer's mom then says that she had a doctor's appointment before then to get a breast cancer lump removed. A lump removed that they didn't, to like have it biopsied to find out if it was cancerous. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
And then went to go drinking afterwards. Spencer asks if her mom is sick. She says no. and is also like, well, why didn't Dad say anything? It's like, well, he doesn't know. Our family, the direct quote was, our family doesn't handle imperfection well. Spencer's mom then says, hey, Alex is a great kid and a keeper, and Spencer expresses her support of her mother. Byron and Ashley have the power come back on, and it turns out the fax sent. Byron then confirms with Ashley for dinner on Saturday night, but then it's like, oh God, what am I doing? This is a bad idea. No, actually, I'm busy on Saturday. And Ashley's like, yes, I was also busy on Saturday. I don't know what I was thinking. Kicking the can down a road for another week. Aria is at school and sees Noel. Aria says she's interested in a date on Saturday with him. And it's like, I can't do Friday because I'm having dinner with my mother. Looks over at Ella and nods, and they both smile at each other. And we go, yay for good choices.
Aria's making better choices.
Exactly. Spencer grabs Alex in the hall and kisses him. Yep. Emily stares at the library window before putting Great Expectations back on the shelf. Lucas approaches Hannah about her leather jacket selling on eBay. Lucas thanks her for standing up to Mona for him, and Hannah's like, well, of course, you're my friend, you geek, and then leaves, and he looks like piney, but also kind of sad and guilty about something. The camera pans down, and his shoes are muddy, also wearing white shoes. Open on a video, we cut to...
Do most of the people in this town not have more than one pair of shoes? And does nobody own rain boots?
Just wear your garden shoes.
Wear your gardening shoes?
Just the dirty shoes. Why are you wearing your white shoes out? We then cut to a video of Ali on a laptop that says, I know you want to... Ali saying, I know you want to kiss me.
I know you want to kiss me.
And a gloved hand stops the video and closes up an envelope addressed to the police that had A as a return name, but then it writes anonymous. The end.
Okay, so Wilden, is he taking the SATs? Why is he there?
I mean, it's so funny. He's just like standing there, like with his back turned to them, and then all of a sudden it's just like, couldn't help it over here.
Here I am.
Exactly. Did someone say wonder?
Thank God Mrs. Hastings, like somebody finally dealt with the whole, like, you're interviewing minors privately without an adult or a lawyer present.
As the entire faculty of the school, the principal is letting this happen.
They're all complicit.
Yeah. Fuck yeah, Mrs. Hastings. Great character. Love Mariska Hargitay. No, it's not her. It just, I can't help but think of SVU. But she's great in this episode. You know, she explains being vulnerable to her daughter, and it's good. We just hope she gets back on carbs next week.
Yeah, you know, we'd love a little garlic bread. Exactly. Everyone should eat a little garlic bread.
I mean, who could deny the pleasure of garlic bread? But yes, I love the tour of Wilden just getting checked on both these episodes. It's fantastic.
Do you think it's the beginning of the end for Wilden?
No.
No?
Mm-mm. She's going to threaten, but like, that's not how this works. He's not going to get taken off the force. Or off the case, I mean, the investigation. Yeah, I think he'll come back with like some renewed power to be able to like interfere with them.
Ooh, renewed power.
Uh-huh.
Fun. Why are muddy shoes suspicious on a rainy day?
Right, that's really funny. Why is everybody wearing white shoes? You could there's any other color of shoes, but I mean, I understand. Like, I don't know, it's very funny.
It's just so weird.
It's really funny.
No one else's shoes are muddy that day?
Yeah. Do we want to talk about the Muddy Shoes kids and their motivations for being at the memorial?
Yeah. So first, let's talk about Emily.
Yeah. I think she's telling the exact truth. I think she was going to go there and is feeling guilty because she probably still has feelings about Emily, or not Emily herself. She's has feelings about Ali and does feel like legitimately guilty
about the things she wrote in the letter.
Because like she probably said, because Emily's the type of person that is very bottled up. And so I'm sure like her writing the letter was just letting all those like bad emotions out, where like those negative emotions he had toward Ali, justifiably.
Did she send it to Ali or did she just keep it? I couldn't tell if there was a stamp on it.
It seemed like it was sent to Ali, but I mean, I don't know if it was like mailed, but it had their address on it, so it must have been. So, you know, I'm glad she at least like was trying to stand up for herself and wrote that letter. And it sucks that she feels bad about it. But I think that is exactly, she's like feeling really conflicted about this person that she had conflicting feelings about.
Well, because she had conflicting feelings in general.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that is 100% checks out. Just sensitive Emily and having emotions brought back up.
Then what about Lucas?
Yeah, I did the like person that's like smashing the, I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast episode, I'm like, oh, like, well, maybe all these aren't where it's like showing the gloved hands like doing stuff. That was Lucas.
You think Lucas smashed?
I think it was 100% it was Lucas, and I think Lucas also has unresolved feelings about like how awful Allison made his life. So I think he was like, fuck this, went there and smashed it.
Even though he's really good friends with Hannah and knows how important that is to her?
Yes. I think that's why he looks guilty at the end.
Got it.
I do not think he's but I think he is has frustrations and anger and went and took it out on the memorial.
Okay. Fair enough. Aria's mom. Her and Aria.
Mm-hmm.
We're working on it. We're patching that relationship.
We're getting better. Yeah.
I feel bad for her because Aria's wrong. 100% wrong.
Oh, I feel so bad for her. That is just like weird, like co-signing. But again, I think that that ties back into what we were saying last episode of projecting onto her dad. I think it shows when she's
forbidden love concept.
Exactly. And when she starts going when she's like, oh, I'm going to actually go on a date with Noel. I'm going to put this thing with Fitz behind me, that she then agrees to have dinner with her mom. It's like, oh, it's not really actually about the relationship. It's about this weird student teacher relationship thing that I'm like dealing with. And then, well, my dad was wrong, so I must be wrong. But they're both wrong, but in different senses.
And then Ella's conversation with Ezra.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they're looking for protein
right.
bars.
Really funny. I think Fitz is going to take the wrong message from that. And Ella's just like, I'm glad like that I can talk to you, and that she has like this mentor looking out for her at the school. And we're like, oh, no. Oh, no.
Yeah, it's not
He's
good.
not just a mentor. Oh, yeah, it's bad. But in a way, I think that works for this storyline and stuff.
Where do you see that relationship going?
Between Ella and Fitz?
No, between
Aria
Fitz
and Fitz?
Aria.
Oh, okay. I was so worried that was like where that was potentially going to go, that she was going to hit on Fitz.
Oh, that's funny. That would have been funny.
Yeah, I was like, oh no, is that going to happen? It's like, oh no, she's just like legitimately asking out of concern for her daughter.
Yeah. No, she's just a concerned mom.
Exactly.
Ella's a good parent.
Yes, she is.
Unlike everyone else in this town.
Exactly.
Ella's trying.
Oh,
she left because she had to.
Exactly. And Ashley is just so
misled.
Exactly.
Struggle busing. Image matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But between Fitz and Aria, it's just gonna keep circling back around. It's just gonna keep coming back up. It's just gonna be this weird contentious thing when the classes start again, and he's back, and then they're kind of sniping at each other, but then they make up. And whenever Aria isn't like super obsessed with the boy she's with, it's gonna be back to Fitz, but then it's gonna be like separate again. Yeah, I think it's gonna be on off.
Okay. What do we feel about Noel and Aria? Still same feelings? Anything
That's
different?
Fine. Yeah.
No.
I think he's like legitimately a placeholder for exactly the thing I was talking about. But if he's more than that, then like, I'd be happy to be wrong and eat crow, but he's just not something yet. He's just like this nice guy.
What about Alex?
Love this. Love Alex. Just the good guy. He's like, oh yeah, like I don't want to tell you because it is a very personal thing.
Your mom told me not to, and
Exactly.
I wouldn't do that to your mother because I like you, and this is important to me.
This is a very embarrassing moment for your mom. Obviously,
It's vulnerable.
Exactly. She was obviously not proud of it. She was in a bad place. You have to talk to her about it. I can't tell you because that's something she has to be able to tell you. So I think that's very sweet.
I think it's very sweet, and that her mom told her. I think that was important too.
Yes, absolutely. Way to go, Mrs. Hastings.
I like this turn of Mrs. Hastings. Mona's a bitch. Period.
The worst. The worst. Yeah, okay, so I think it's funny. Yeah, she's just the worst. And I was thinking about this of her in relationship to Hannah and how they were like these good friends, but that's all happened off screen.
It would happen while everyone else was gone.
Exactly. We don't see them being good friends, rising up the ranks, and presumably Hannah also maybe at least like not saying anything to Mona, because Mona seems like shocked that like, why are you like getting mad at me being a mean girl? And so it's funny, I think, with a lot of the characters, like we're now seeing them in like take a corner a little bit in this episode on like growing. So like Emily growing, like understanding her feelings for Maya and her complicated relationship with Ali in the past. Aria learning to like maybe like that what she was doing was reckless and maybe not the best choice. Spencer also learning to like ask for her family for like a little bit more vulnerability and indeed being more vulnerable and not so worried about like her relationships with other people.
Mm-hmm.
Hannah, this is all in the past. Hannah, it seems like I was like, oh, why do I like Hannah? Oh, because like we're seeing all her negative stuff happened off screen before the show started.
Yeah,
So,
her
like,
being mean, her being a mean girl already happened.
Exactly, yeah. So then we're just getting like Hannah
course correcting.
We're getting Hannah third act already. Of like the third act of a movie of like, oh, I've already made amends and I've grown as a person. Like we just get to we only see the good side of Hannah. We get to see Hannah in the first act of being like bullied and quiet, miss out on the like the rise
girl.
and fall, and now we just have
we caught the end of the fall
a little bit, yeah. And now we just have her being like, well, now I'm the popular person, but I'm also nice.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very funny. I'm like, oh, no wonder I like this character. We only get the good sides of her.
Yeah. And she's just funny.
Yeah, exactly. She again, she's the one that's just like, out of all the friends, they're just like, Emily, what were you doing? And Hannah's like, don't listen to him. This is Wilden. You son of a bitch. And also coming up to Emily, she's like so proactive in every sense of the word. And it's just like, hey, you can tell like our friends, like you should really open up to them too. Like, you know, when you're ready. But I think like if you wanted to, you could tell them about like you being like gay. It's so funny.
I wrote Hannah loyalist fuck as my next bullet point. So you just went right into it.
Perfect. Yeah, just fantastic. Everybody else is just like, what were you doing? And Hannah just being like, fuck you, Wilden.
I love it. I love it. Ashley and Byron. I hate it. I'm uncomfortable.
It's so uncomfortable every time. It's like, oh no. It's a car crash.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have a high opinion of Ashley.
Mm-hmm.
Do you
think it's gonna crash the car?
Yes.
I can't remember.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's gonna be much more other than them going out to dinner or something. But I think it's gonna.
They're gonna
crash.
take us somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope it's only an out to dinner thing, and then it's just like Ella sees them and is like hurt or something, and it's just like, oh, what am I doing? That's my best. That's my hope.
That's your dream.
That's my dream. Not feeling confident.
You're not feeling confident? Ezra, like, okay, so he traveled in a storm to get back to the school to be there to proctor the SATs.
If this were a different show, I'd be like, he was out there killing someone. This guy's where have you been? But yeah, where has he been?
Where has he been?
He drove in. He'd been gone for
like a week or two.
A week, and he went and applied somewhere else. Makes sense.
Interviewed.
Interviewed somewhere else. That means he'd already applied before. But and then arrives in the rainstorm, like just arrives in the doorway.
We didn't see his shoes.
I know. Oh, there you go. But also, how do you know? He must have just heard the music.
Well, I think they were just walking around looking for all the stragglers.
Right.
Like that was my assumption with that.
Yeah, he has to patrol the halls and make sure that kids
they
weren't
wanted them
hiding out somewhere.
They wanted to get them all in the library because they were going to move them all.
Oh,
so
okay.
they were because of the storm. Because he says that to them.
I thought
like
they were
it was
supposed to be in the
thing.
library anyway.
Well, I think they weren't supposed to leave the school.
I thought they weren't supposed to leave the library room because Noel's like, there's like other places we could go sneak off to. And Aria's like, oh, sure.
Yeah, I didn't think anything of that. Because like there's no bathroom in the library.
Yeah, it's not like anybody's really like paying attention because like everybody's just like, where's Emily? I don't know. She's somewhere. And her friends receive a threatening text and go like, okay, disregard that one.
Yeah. It was
so
a little
funny.
Concerning. It was a little concerning. Okay. So where do you think Ezra was where he says he was?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't.
Fair enough.
I don't have any theories on where he was though.
Okay, fair
I
enough.
don't think he was in New York working. Oh yeah, he could have been in New York working on issues. And I think he did maybe interview at a school for a week.
It is suspicious.
Sus.
Hannah and Lucas, how are we feeling about them?
Yeah, fine. I like the friendship. Like, that's nice. It seems like things are going to get more complicated with the reveal of Lucas smashing up the memorial.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that's going to be revealed to Hannah?
At some point, yeah. Hannah's going to find out.
Mm-hmm. And you're sure it's Lucas?
Yes, I'm dead set that this is Lucas.
Fair enough.
But you know, as with all things, I can be wrong. But I would place money on it.
Where do you think Toby is?
God, he's on the interstate.
He was seen at a gas station.
Yeah, I mentioned this to you last time. I'm like, how come I didn't make a joke about him being James from Twin Peaks? He's literally off in some other soap opera.
He's got a whole new plot.
Exactly. He's staying at some woman's house who's like a black widow, and he's in trouble.
Oh, poor Toby.
No, I have no idea. Hiding out presumably somewhere, or do you think? Or wait, no. He's staying at his other parents' house. Because he's step siblings with Jenna.
But you don't think the police know who his other parents are?
Oh, yeah, that's true. I don't know, though. The police is pretty... Yeah,
They don't have jurisdiction.
Exactly. You get out of my town, Wilden. You don't have jurisdiction here.
Maybe his dad's a sheriff, like FP in Riverdale.
Right.
And so, like...
Boy.
He can't.
No, that... I didn't think about that. Of course, the police would be like, is your son here?
Well...
Yeah.
We just brought up the plot point of questioning minors without an adult present. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't know. I can't quite picture what the hell he's been up to.
He's doing some puzzles.
Exactly. Yeah.
He's got a really nice Rubik's Cube. He can do it with a blindfold now.
Yeah, he's doing a 500 piece.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen with that.
Do you think he had anything to do with the memorial being smashed?
No. But I think he's going to come back with, I think maybe he's trying to find something buried or hidden that's related to Ali, like that he's going to like pull up. He needs to get some evidence quietly.
Like information wise or like literal like buried?
Literal buried thing.
Okay.
That is information.
Fair enough. And Pretty Little Liars, you can't have one or both.
Exactly. He's gonna like John Wick the it's like paved over at the bottom of a house. Take a pickaxe to it, get it out.
You know you want to kiss me. Who is she talking to?
Toby.
You think that's Toby?
I think that's Toby.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Why?
Because that weird relationship that is hidden under the surface, the subtext there, where she calls him a freak all the time. I think on the side there was like something happening.
Oh,
you know how she like does that to Emily? I think she did that to Toby too.
Oh, that's so sad.
Uh-huh. So I think she's talking to Toby.
Okay.
That's my best guess.
That's your best guess.
Yeah, that with my gut.
With your gut.
It says Toby.
Your full gut.
I'm really like...
We should always do the sleep deprived because you are confident today.
I'm really confident in my theories. I think there's probably a lot of people that are just watching me like it's like bottom of the ninth where like I've got like bases are loaded. I'm just taking big swings and completely like on ball, like breaking balls.
Yeah,
it's like damn, that's like 2 strikes already. Like he really needs to like
you
get
were
on base.
Very convinced that Sean was gay.
Yeah.
Do you still think that?
No. I forgot about that. I was for that episode.
There was a couple episodes.
It was a couple episodes. It could still come up.
Fair. Though,
right now, it just seems like he's going to be like, Hannah, it's either me or Lucas. And she's going to be like, I don't do ultimatums. And he's like, Mrr.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. You should write the show.
Thank you. Watched 9 episodes, I think. I know how to do this.
We're almost halfway through the first season.
I've never written a script. I think oh God, that's true. It's like, yeah.
Look at that.
I know.
You're really going for it. Okay, and then just like shot in the dark, who's they?
My best guess probably still Fitz, but I don't think I'm right.
Fair enough.
That's the one I don't feel confident about.
Why Fitz?
He's just the one he's been doing shady things off screen, and we have no idea why. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's going to be true. Maybe it's Ian. I don't know.
But why?
Because he's the one that we haven't been introduced to yet.
We just know that he also kissed Spencer.
Or what was he doing there?
But also, why did he kiss Spencer?
Why did he kiss Spencer? Because for whatever reason, she's like a siren when boys that are dating Melissa walk into the house, like dragging them to kiss her lips instead of into the sea. Like the Odyssey, and they are Odysseus.
I think Spencer would love that reference point.
Perfect. We gotta get. I mean, it's high school literature, so you know.
Yeah. Those are my questions for you. Do you have any other thoughts on this episode?
Let's see. Okay, so we covered Wilden, covered Miss Hastings, covered Noel. Yeah,
we've covered everyone's boyfriend or potential
love interest. Yeah, I think that's everything I had. Yeah. Do we need to do a recap on secrets?
Sure. You give me your secret recap.
Okay. Aria, still the relationship with Fitz.
Mm-hmm. Friends don't know.
Exactly. Nothing else there. Spencer, still in the clear. Yeah, she's still running clear with all her friends.
Mm-hmm.
Hannah, now selling purses online, selling things online.
I don't know if that's like is that a secret?
She hasn't, or she at least doesn't tell it to Sean.
She doesn't tell it to Sean, and she doesn't tell it to Mona. Well, I thought it was because it was with Lucas. But whatever, doesn't matter.
Either way, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. We don't see her tell everybody else. Well, actually, no. So she talks to Aria about no, because that was a red herring. I was going to say about money. I don't think people know maybe about her financial situation.
Fair enough.
Other than Lucas. But Lucas doesn't even know. So there you go. There's a secret. Financial situation. And her shoplifting and...
They know about that, though. Her friends know.
Oh, wait. Yeah, the shoplifting. They just don't know about the Wilden staying at her house and the assault on her mother.
Yeah.
Boy, Hannah.
They had to do a lot of her character development off screen because they had to give her so much plot.
The friends for Emily don't know about Maya yet, but they know about her and Ali.
Yes.
And is that all the friends? I think that's everybody. Spencer, who knew would be free and clear out of everybody?
So early too.
I know. She's just like, oops, as I shake the entire desk.
No
more hand motions. We have an audio version.
You don't want to watch it. It's shaky.
Yeah. And now for my next pick, I will watch to make the camera shake.
What do we think Jenna's up to?
Yeah, I think she's just trying to fuck with them.
Do you think she's just menacing? Do you think
this
she knows where
because
Toby is?
No. Because I think her and Toby have an antagonistic relationship, and I think Toby being away, I think they were open, quote unquote, as much as like Jenna was like poking him, pretty much making him her tell him things, and then him being away is like kind of like being free of her.
He's probably having a really nice time.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Jenna has like some ulterior motive related to Allison because they seem to be getting along and share things secretly. So stay tuned.
Fair enough. Yeah. Anything else you want to unpack?
No, I think I've.
So Ezra's A, maybe. That's your theory. If we're playing MASH, Ezra's A, you're gonna live in a shack. You're gonna have 72 kids, and you have 47 secrets.
What was the other one? MASH and lemon or something? It was like another way of doing the MASH.
I was a MASH purist, or we did the cootie catchers.
Yeah, but it was another like acronym like that where you'd play with the different letters.
What did lemon stand for?
I can't remember. See, that's why I was hoping you had played it so that you could elaborate for me.
Nope. Which liar is your favorite? Actually, before we go.
Oh, Hannah.
Hannah still.
Yeah.
Who's number 2?
Spencer.
3. It's hard. Picking a favorite child is always hard, but you had no trouble with that.
No, not that. Who's my second and least favorite?
Maybe we shouldn't have kids.
Maybe Emily. I don't know. Aria and Emily are kind of a nothing to me. They're both fine, and I understand a little bit more of like Emily's plight.
I've always had a soft spot for Aria.
Yeah, like Aria is still like she's just like mixed up, but like we'll chase after things. So like I like her like tenaciousness, but at the same time like I'm not like super. Her plot is like my least favorite.
Yeah, no, it's not a good story.
Yeah, she's just like sensitive and is still like learning to be assertive, and I get that.
That's fair enough. That's a good pull, especially for a teen show.
Yeah, and I think Spencer. The best part about her is that she goes between like worried and scary.
I respect that.
In a scene, yeah, like when she just sits down, it's like, all right, enough of the bullshit, Jenna. What are you planning on doing?
Yeah, you want to rumble?
So good, yeah. And then just because Hannah is just always ready to like throw hands.
Well, when do you think we'll have Toby back? Or
next week?
Next week?
Yeah, because I had made that guess that he wouldn't be in these 2 episodes last week, so I'm still sticking to it. Yeah,
fair enough. How exciting! Well,
yes, it is exciting. I like Toby.
Yeah. Who's your favorite like non-liar character then?
Ooh.
Or like potential antagonist, I guess, because like who could be A? Anyone could be A.
I know. Jenna's been pretty fun this week. Jenna will receive the award this week.
Jenna is the best antagonist in the show this week.
Yeah, exactly.
Fair enough.
So out of all the side characters this week,
Lady Jenna.
Exactly. Yes, Lady Jenna.
Lady Jenna. She is pretty fun.
Exactly. She's she's unflappable and doesn't take no shit.
We love that.
And while also keeping things close to the chest, and it's just like, oh, I will let you talk things out and reveal things to me.
Yeah. Why don't you?
I love that.
Do.
Exactly.
I love it. All right. Any last thoughts, or should we go into plugs?
I'm ready for plugs.
All right. Well, when we're not here doing this, you can find me at butreallythough.com, though, as spelled THO. I am a life and career coach, so all of my coaching information is there. I help people get their shit together. I don't condone, the activities of the Pretty Little Liars. We would talk about how to avoid some of these, like maybe going to report things like creepy old men hitting on you. I don't work with minors, so I guess there's that too.
That's what I was going to say. But you've also seen the police.
Yeah. Well.
And the school board.
I don't give legal advice, so it's fine.
Exactly.
I help people find jobs that pay them better.
Right.
All of my social media is linked to that website. So if you go to burlythough.com, you can find me on Instagram. You can find me on TikTok. You can find it all. And though is spelled THO.
You can find the video version of this podcast on YouTube at Dead Ends. You can find the audio version of this podcast on all your podcast platforms of choice. We'd love subscribers and 5 stars. So, positive reviews. Thank you very much.
Say nice things or don't say anything at all.
Yeah, tell your friends.
Imagine I'm Jenna telling you that.
Now that's scary. Then you can also find our Let's Plays over at my YouTube, Burger Discourse. We're playing through Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories. And you can also find further thoughts from me on video games, anime, movies, TV on my blog, burgerdiscourse.com.
All right.
The sign-off is coming to me. Now, here it is. We're still here. And we're going to learn everything.
But you really didn't know nothing this episode, huh?
Knew nothing.
We barely remembered how to start and end this.
But I have my convictions.
And that's what matters.